Yo, what is up, guys? I'm back for the Silverstone guide. My fault. I genuinely just completely forgot that I had signed up and committed to making these. Um, I don't know how I forgot. Especially since Silverstone is my favorite track, by far my absolute best. I have set lap times in qualifying for leagues that I have no idea where they came from. Just something about this track more than any other track, I could easily enter that flow state and just deliver perfection. And I'm just so happy this is a reverse grid race, but at the same time, it's like, damn, I really could have, done something special around here. I could have pulled a Max Verstappen. I think, I pulled a Max Verstappen week one in MCR around Australia, where I was ahead of P2 by like 36, 40 seconds until a late safety car came out, something like that. Um, yeah, there's a few tracks from like that, where it's just, and this is one of them. So I'm using Danny Bresney's setup. Uh, Wings are definitely a little higher than what I'm gonna use. I don't really remember. I always use 100 on throttle, but 95, you don't really feel it that much of a difference. Off throttle, that's good for a race. 40% off throttle, pretty good. All left, obviously. Suspension, definitely different than a race setup, so don't fully copy this. Brake bias for the race, probably use 55. Always max tire pressures. Unfortunately, there is that bug where you could skip the final chicane. And Danny Bresney, the guy who has the #1 time in the world, has done that, even though he's an esports player, so it's shocking. I have a really good time, but I did just try to I just did the glitch, and I didn't cross the line because I didn't want to set that time like I did in Japan because it's just foolish. Yeah, I would have been. I think I was 3 seconds up, so I would have been somewhere around here, top 20. Yeah, or a little more than 3 seconds. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys this track guide. Silverstone is one of those corners where exits matter the most for you guys without traction control. This is one of those tracks that you need absolute perfection out of your traction, well, with your feet or whatever you use. If you have a controller with your trigger finger, the saying, uh, slow in, fast out. It's just one of those tracks. Well, not that, and it's so easy to spin out around here too. But just as much as you can hammer a good lap time around here. So I'm gonna do one kind of fast lap. Oh, let me add. I might add the hot lap to the end of this video. I haven't decided yet. We'll see, because I'll probably have to cut it up. Um, yeah, so, or I might just make a separate video. Who knows? You'll know by the time you're seeing this. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna do one quick hot lap. Not super crazy. I'll just, yeah, I'm gonna just do a hot lap, kind of talk you through it. So obviously I'm more prone to mistakes and whatnot. It's not as quick as I usually go, but that's like how I like to start these off. Um, and I want to do this guide no line because that's what I've been playing a lot more now. And I love playing no line nowadays because it just makes the tracks feel so much bigger. But I'm keeping the line on for y'all here because I want you to use my lines because they vary and all that as a reference. So just use the line as a reference. A lot of people use it as they have to use it. They have to use it. Use it as a reference. Because I mean, just think about it. A lot of people are scared to turn. I'm not saying turn off the line, but a lot of people are scared to think about using a different line because the racing line isn't exactly that. But if you just think about it this way, that when you're completing overtakes and stuff like that, you're thinking of an alternate line and you're just doing that line. You're not following the race line when you're trying to overtake someone most of the time, unless you're on the racing line and trying to defend or whatever. You're not always using that the racing line. So just use what I'm doing as a reference. Obviously, I'm still copying Danny Bresney's line besides the final chicane because that's the best way to demonstrate where I'm braking and stuff. And obviously, pay attention to my brake and throttle inputs at the bottom to see what I'm doing and maybe what you could do differently and stuff like that. So yeah, um, for turn one here, you're not on the full racing line because it is bumpy. You bottom out and you lose top speed. So that's why it's kind of you're not all the way to the left. You're a little bit to the right, and then you go back on the race line to do the turn one. Um, Eat that inside curve. Go around back down to third gear. Easy in the power there. Here too, you're not fully on the racing line because it's bumpy, bottoms you out. See the light tap of the brakes of 4th gear. It's a long corner. Get easily back in the power. Brake early. Take a tighter line in 3rd, or you could take it in 4th. Up to preference. On the power nicely. I eat this inside curb a little bit. I'm going to reach 8th gear and shift down to 7th mid-corner here. Through Cops, Maggots, and Beckett's. I do not brake at all for it, even on used tires, whatever. Just you're going to have to pay attention to where I lift. I'll try to say it if I can. It's hard when these corners are rapid. Yeah, so this is just lifting territory, okay? Lift, so you can take a different line. Lift down to 5th, back on the power. This next corner is also a lift, and they actually, I found out recently, this is also a lift in real life, which in the previous games you had to brake slightly for. And then I was shocked that this is a lifting corner, just like the game, because I thought at first for the longest time I thought this corner was absolute bullshit. I don't know the name of it. I'm sorry. I'm like, why are we lifting? This is just too much grip, yada yada yada. And then I found out this is what they're doing in real life. So I mean, it's cool. I typically gear down to 6th or 5th gear here, and I'm trying to get my foot back on the power by mid corner by the apex. Here's down to 3rd gear. Eat the inside curb a little more than that. Eat this inside curb as well. Get that extra rotation. And I spun it. Okay. Anyways. That was pretty good. I mean, I was pushing you there to try to beat my lap time. It's just crossed the line. Let's just say that would have been close to my PB, my personal best so far. So anyways. I'm going to go through the chicane at the end just because it is the final few corners. So let's open up this lap by going slowly. Now for this part, I'm going to turn off the line just so I could show you Danny Bresny's, make it a little easier to watch because I'm going to be going slow the entire time. So you see it opens up on, out of the final corner. You're not fully over here because you're bottoming out. Like I'm already hitting bumps and would be bottoming out at full speed. You're coming in this alternate line and then going back to the racing line to eat this inside curb without touching. Sorry, went too fast. Without touching those little red curbs right there that you see. You don't want to touch them with your inside wheels, but you want to get as close to them as possible. So eat this curb. And then you're going to just follow the racing line. I like to touch this inside curb. Again, don't touch those red curbs on the inside, but you're going to want to touch this inside curb a little bit. You're going to hold it in 7th gear. I'm never in 8th gear here. This corner was a lot easier last game, but it's definitely a lot harder with the traction now. But you're going to break down the 3rd gear. You're going to let the car, and there was a way different line used last game, but whatever, it's fine. You're going to take the normal racing line. Okay, you're going to try to get your foot on the power as much as possible. Here in the race, I just tap the brake a little bit, even in time trial, even though these guys lift. I'm sure lifting is the optimal fastest way, but only by maybe a 10th or 2. Yeah, I mean, you could see that my personal best sector 1 is a 27.6 in the top left. Danny Bresny's is a 27.1, and I could definitely get like at least another 2/10 in there if I really just kept practicing time trial, but I really don't like time trial. So that's all within the first few corners where I can improve, because I believe the sector 1 ends just before this next set of this next corner. Again, you're not on the full racing line because they laser scanned it, and the real life bumps that are there don't affect the cars as much as they do in this game, but in this game they make you bottom out, so you're losing top speed. So you don't want to fully be on the racing line here. You're a little off of it, so you're not bottoming out and losing top speed. Again, if you see these lines that Danny Bresny uses, he brakes, but obviously not that hard. And you're going to go down to 4th gear here. And by the apex, you want to try to be on your foot back on the power. You're cutting this inside corner again. Again, you're not touching those red curbs, okay, because those really unsettle your car. And I'm staying in 4th gear. I'm trying to power, and then the racing line would take you around like right here. which is cool. I don't know why you use the inside line. I'm not gonna lie. I have been doing that ever since I learned this track when I first started this game, and first started playing F1 games in December of 2023. So I don't know. I just learned that line, and I felt it always a little easier. You want to brake a little bit earlier than what the racing line is telling you, so you could get that rotation to take the more inside line, and you're just holding it and getting you're feathering the throttle, getting your foot back in the power in third gear and whatnot. And you're coming back out to the curb like that. Again, this is just a back straight or a straight of some sort, but you're eating this inside curve here to minimize track distance. I honestly don't know if this is what the racing line shows you. Mine's just corner only. I don't know. Probably. Minimizing track distance, keep it flat, keep it flat. I go up to 8th gear, in a quality or time trial, but during the race, you keep it in 7th gear because you don't have full battery deployment. You're in 7th gear, completely flat. Don't touch those red curbs or the grass, but eat this inside curb in 7th gear. It's a little slippery, but you can control it. Come out, and you're just on the racing line. For the first corner of Maggots and Beckett's, you're just eating this inside curb without touching that rubber, whatever those curbs are called, curb. Duh. Okay, and then you're gonna, again, cut this one without touching the red curbs, but you're on the curb. You're taking a more different line than the racing line because you're setting up this last part of Maggots and Beckett's. So that's why you lift a little bit. If you watch back into my lap, you'll see when I lifted. I don't know exactly what point because I'm not doing this fast. And then again, you're going a little bit wider of a line to this final part of Beckett's so you get a better exit. So remember, slow in, fast out for this track especially. And then obviously don't get a corner cutting here. I know it's super easy to understeer in dirty air and just in general because you're carrying too much speed or whatnot. Just gotta find that balance. Next corner is a lift, so you lift to 6th or 5th gear, and then you're carrying the speed. And then by mid corner by this first rubber curb on the right hand side here is a good indication of you should be able to almost get your foot on the power. By the middle one, you want your foot on the gas because you have that rotation and you're gonna power exit out of the corner. And for this next set, I think you brake at the 100. Whatever, I don't know. I forget. I have to go fast. It's hard doing this slow. But again, you're gonna cut this inside curb here without going in the grass, without touching that plastic curb. Okay, you're gonna cut it up. And then you're, again, here. But you want to cut this as much as possible without eating that curb because it's going to set a curb. But you have to really, really hold it tight here. Because what this is doing is if you don't do this, it's super easy to understeer, and it's just that much harder to get your foot down on the power. At least what I've noticed. So when I started doing this and I learned about this, it made it so I'm not understeering as much. I have a little more oversteer, which for me personally, more easy to control. I'd rather come like in a little short for this next corner than go wide. It sucks. It's dangerous to have a person behind you. But yeah, and then you're gonna come out wide here and just keep trying to get your foot on the power. Eat this in. Oh shit! I forgot to talk about that. I eat this inside curb a little bit too. You don't necessarily have to. But again, if you're gonna cut that curb, don't touch the rubber lifted curb, whatever, because it's gonna spin you around. And then you just come back out the racing line. Boom, nice and tidy. But that's my walkthrough. That was pretty oh no, it's not fast. It's been 14 minutes. That's actually crazy. I was able to talk for that long. Yeah, so I'm gonna go record a hot lap, and if I can edit it together, I'm gonna do that. And if I can't, I can't. Hopefully this helps. Obviously, DM me with any questions and whatnot, or at me in chat. Peace.